There is a space in my heart where I find the truth. I find me in you, a truth beyond what you may see now. But when we are one, we bring more good about. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah, there is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. I see with new eyes, allow and unfold, embrace and let go, trust the flow. There's a freedom in love when you follow your heart. Together we are stronger than we could ever be apart. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah, there is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Breathe in and out, slowly feel all that's around you, all that you feel, all that you know. Let it go. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. Yeah, when we unite. Oh, we unite. Yeah, yeah, when we unite. Yeah, yeah, you are welcome here. Love is welcome here. Peace is welcome here. You are welcome here.
Yes, yes, yes. You are welcome here. You're welcome to the house of love. This is the house of love, whether you know it or not. Things are not working right, but that's okay. Yes, let's take a breath, deep breath together. It is a good way to center, to know what is true, to be reminded of what is true, to be reminded that you are the truth. And you show up as the queen of Zamunda. Because you are already in America, not just coming to America. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, and good day to you wherever you are. Thank you for tuning in, and of course, tuning into yourself first. When you tune into yourself, you give yourself permission to listen differently. You give yourself permission to transform. You give yourself permission to see things differently and maybe become less judgmental. It does make a difference when you're willing to just stop and listen. You get to see things for what they are. You get to move beyond seeing it from who you are, but to a place where you can see them for what they really are. That's important. That's important. And of course, you create a space for transformation. I am Ade, your transformational beingness artist. Welcome to another episode of Being You. Ade presents Being You. It is the journey back to yourself. And on this journey, it's a journey of invitation. It's a journey to look at yourself, to ask yourself deeper questions, to figure out, who are you? Who am I? How do I see myself? How do I see myself in the world? That's a good question to ask yourself. When you ask yourself, how do I see myself? That might need some time to let the answers bubble up. Then you ask, how do I see the world? Because there's a lot going on. But you want to ask yourself genuinely, talking about seeing things as they are, not as you want them to be, as you think it should be. Like, how do I see the world? And how do I see myself in the world? What's my role? What role am I playing? And how do I see the world in me? Because nothing is disconnected. Nothing is disconnected. Yeah, that too. But everything is connected. Everything is connected. And when you recognize and remember that everything is connected, it's a whole new way of being, man. It's like you fall in love with yourself. When you remember that, in this moment, everything you need, want, desire, it's happening. It's happening right now. You may not tangibly have it in your hands, but it's all here. So there might be somebody you can reach out to. There might be something you can find on YouTube, on Google, a friend, or maybe you just stop and somehow you get a call, you get a thought, something bubbles up, or you don't get anything, but because you stop to say, I am present, I am here, I am now. You're claiming your presence and reminding yourself that you are present because you were present for this moment. You remember that you are here. And because you're here, you are now. Everything is happening right now. The past, the future is happening now. And you're in the middle of that, which allows you to dance through life and be different. This is season 4, episode 17, Tuesday, May 3rd, 2022. I want to invite you to, if you haven't done that already, like the show. Why? Because you are unconditionally liking it. Because you know you're going to like it. You're going to love it. Rev D's coming, and when Rev D gets here, you're going to say, "I wish there was something more than just liking it." Maybe we should tell Meta, and say to them, can we have a button that says, this is off the chain? This is some spiritual bombs that's being dropped here. My life is being transformed. Yeah, so I invite you to like it, share it, maybe share in a DM with people if you don't want to. Put it out. You don't want people to know what you're doing, especially if you're at work. And on YouTube, I'm changing some things. I've changed my channel now to Life Coach Ade, which is great. I didn't think I could do it. I've done it. I'm still tweaking some stuff, tweaking a lot of different things. My program, my website. So we're getting there. And I just invite you, to just share. I want to grow the listenership. You've heard me say before, I used to get a lot. I mean, at the end of the show, usually like 200 people, and then suddenly something happened and just dropped. But I trust the process. It's not about the numbers, and it is about the numbers because they both belong. But I don't do what I do based on the numbers. Did you get that? I do it because this is what I'm led to do. What else do I want to tell you? You know the date. I've done this. Rev is going to be joining us soon. I want to tell you about some things that are coming up. May 26th. Last Thursday, I did an event called Representing Your Ancestors. representing ancestors in association with reimagine.org. Their website address is L-E-T-S, reimagine.org. Check them out. They're doing great work on a lot of different, offering different events on grief, justice, growth, life and death, and finding your space in community. And so I did one event last week Thursday. I'm doing another one May 26th. To find out more, go to bit.ly/your ancestors 2, the number 2, bit.ly/your ancestors and the number 2. That will take you to it, give you more information about it. Check it out. Register. Let's do this. Kwali, nice to see you. Shoyinka is in the house. Bibo, love, my dear sister. Breathe in, breathe out, love, because we are united in spirit. Jackie is in the house, and we have silent listeners, those who are listening but not in the chat room. Thank you. Wherever you're listening from, let us know. Let us know if you're listening on, let me remove that. If where in the world you're listening from, not just if you're on Facebook. I mean, I can kind of read and see who is where. Yeah, we got people on YouTube and my profile page. Folks just do not want to go to the business page. Oh boy. So today the theme is governmental Trinity. Does that have to do with the government? Yes. Trinity? What does that mean? And why are we even talking about politics? Keep listening. You know, there is no separation, right? We say everything is connected. I'm guessing most of you here would say, yes, that's true. But so if everything is connected, why do we separate spirituality from politics? Why do we separate our job from our spiritual lives? Why do we separate ourselves from people? Joining with people, aligning with people doesn't mean you have to eat dinner with them. It's just recognizing that they're another part of you. They are another you. Whether they're four-legged beings, that's another you. I was talking to my partner today, and I'm like, monkeys, man. Monkeys are human. They just be doing the most. Let's just stop that. They do the most. It's the kind of thing that humans do. But we live in a society where things are kind of separate. Those are animals, and that's humans. And, you know, there's some things that we've evolved into doing or not doing. But when we get behind the appearance, whether you're looking at a big body of water, whether you're looking at a tree, whether you're looking at a bird, maybe you're looking at somebody without a home. Maybe you're looking at a woman who has a temporary stay in a shelter. You're looking at somebody on the street who society says is a drug addict. But when they were in the military and fighting the war, you talked about supporting the troops. And then when the impact of the war affects them the way it does, and they need to, what's the word I'm looking for? They need to cope. And they turn to substance, whatever that is, to help them cope. Like, drug addict. I ain't giving them any money because they're only going to use it to buy alcohol. But then you say, support the troops. This is about us having an opportunity to think about what we think about, to be very aware about what's happening. So everything is connected. Your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, the thoughts you say out loud and the ones you don't. It's all connected. And every thought is created at some level. So when you see things going on in the world and you're like, shh, those people, I could never do that. Or you're making a judgment or think you're better than, being superior. You're ingesting stuff you don't need. Let me put it that way. Brother Baptiste, Jean-Baptiste, Jean. You see, I stay away from your last name. And let me see. Niyibizi. Did I say it right? All the way from Rwanda. Thank you, my brother. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. What else do I want to tell you before Rev D gets here? I am really ready for this conversation. And if you have your deepest intent, for those of you on Life Coach Ade, Instagram, and the Being You Instagram, Being You podcast. And those of you wherever else you are, let's see. If you have Your Deepest Intent by Rev D, Letters from the Infinite. If you bought it or you got it from the library and it's not next to you, Queen is in the house. um, go get it. You may have read that chapter, the Governmental Trinity, or not. Don't worry about it. Prepare to be blown away. I've read it before. I don't know how many times. I usually put dates and notes. The Sacred Yes and Your Deepest Intent. It's kind of similar to the old people's Bible, where people write all kind of different stuff. If you ain't old and you got stuff on your Bible, don't mind me. Kiana is in the house. Happy first Tuesday of May, she said. Yes, welcome, my dear sister. Hello, Drea. Nice to see you. I hope I'm saying your name right. It's Drea, right? Or I can just play it safe and go Lotus Wise Man. Interesting. That almost tripped me up. Nice to see you. But yes, if you have Your Deepest Intent, get it. Go get it now. Have it next to you. There's so much here, especially. So there's two parts to this. There's a part about it, part of the letter that talks about time and how we deal with time. And the funny thing about it is, I was reading it this morning, and I was thinking about all the things that I've got to do before the show. I needed to go out, which reminds me, I need to go out and get some shopping done because I'm traveling. I'm traveling next week, Monday, and I'm going to be gone for 8 days, really. I come back I leave, I'm going to Dominican Republic and coming back, Dominican Republic. Jackie, no words from you. That's an inside joke, people. Coming back, I leave there next Tuesday, a week, I leave there on the 16th and I don't get back to UK on the 17th. So that means the next 2 weeks, I won't be here. But I know you'll be all right. I may do a pre-recording for the 16th. I don't know. I know I'm not doing one for the 9th. No, the 10th. What's today's date? Yes, the 10th. So I was thinking of everything I need to do. Thank you, my dear sister. I was thinking about everything I need to do. And I was like, I don't know if I can read all the sections right now. And I just took a breath. I said, no, stick with it. The beautiful thing is my work is all around my spiritual practice. My spiritual practice is around my work. So whatever I read, whether it's a Sacred Yes, Your Deepest Intent, or other books that I read, it's part of my spiritual practice. So I said, relax. This whole thing about time, you have to change the way you think about time. You just need to do it because it's for your own well-being. And they started talking about time. So for those of you who don't know, this is the chapters are called letters from the infinite. Because Rev D received, she's a prophet. She prophesies. So some of you know. I knew you were talking to me out loud, Jackie. I knew you were. That's why I said, be quiet. This is my microphone. You don't get to talk. So she receives the downloads and on different things. Your Deepest Intent has a lot to say about America. And so the conversation around time was just perfect for me because I find that that's something that I'm really shifting my mind about. And when we get so focused, so caught up in time, not only does it affect our well-being, our health, it gets in the way of us seeing what is true, what is so. It gets in the way of us really living life fully because we're measuring almost everything by time. It's not healthy. But if it's working for you, keep doing what you're doing. That's my thing. And then from time, we start talking about the governmental Trinity, which I'm not going to give too much away, but I promise you, not only are you going to see politics from a different perspective, you're actually going to see how these governmental divisions represent you. It's an aspect of you. And why it's important. There's all kind of stuff going on in America. You know, most of my listeners are in America. And most of my shows are sort of focused American based, most of it, 99.999. And there's stuff going on in America right now. It's just like, it's crazy. And So I'm so excited. I want to talk about it, but it's like, no, not yet. Rev D will be here in about 9 minutes. I was going to say 9 months. Look in here. Thank you all for being here. Once again, I invite you to share the show, like it, subscribe if you're on YouTube, because I'm growing that as well. And in the meantime, I want to ask you a question. And I'm asking the question because I want to know. So do not answer. Most of you do anyway. When you look at the state of the world right now, wherever you are in the world, whether you're in Rwanda, like my brother Baptiste, whether you're in Nigeria, whether you're in India, whether you're in America, the problem with America sometimes is like America, the news, the things that make it out, what they call them, mainstream media put out there will make you think there's nothing else happening but only what's happening in America. But I know that, my listeners, you guys are broad-minded. There's YouTube. YouTube will take you to different parts and help you see yourself differently, expand your consciousness. If you are to describe what's going on in the world right now, how would you describe it? Or do you just check out like, I can't be a part of it because it's too much for my mind and I am struggling to deal with my own world. The last thing I'm trying to do is get out there and see what's going on in the world. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. And if you've read the Governmental Trinity and the Sacred Yes, and you have questions, feel free to share that too. So Shoinka said redistribution of power, land, and time. Seriously, I know that's right. Yes. There's so much I want to say about that. So true. Okay, I won't say anything about it right now because I feel like once I go into it, I'm going to start saying too much because I want to just wait. Let's see. Let me maximize this. Yeah, Rev D will be here soon. Quali is ready. Quali's like, what do we want? Rev D, when do we want her? Now. She's coming. She usually gets here about 30 minutes after the hour. Yeah, redistribution of power, money, land, and time. Well, how do you redistribute time, though, Shoyinka? I'm curious to hear that. Okay. Yeah, Shoyinka, I want to hear, how do you redistribute time? I'm going to say that slowly. And Kiana said, how she deals with it is like, I check out by going within, preferably into nature. That's the great place to be. Now, when you come out, when you go within and then you step without, what do you do with the information? And that's not just for Kiana. Everybody listening. When you go within, whether in nature, whether you meditate, whether you get still, what do you do with the information you receive? How do you express it? How do you show up in the world with what you receive? Because the world is a reflection of us. The world is a reflection of us. If there's anything in the world, if everything is connected, if all is one, then we are a part of it. So when we go within, that's one place I always tell people to go, just get your ass out of here and go within. You say that to a child, get your ass out of here. And then do what? Go within. Within where? Within yourself. How? Figure it out. What do we do with the information that we get? Because I found that the best way to know what you know is when you translate the information you get and allow it to come out, allow it to be expressed, allow it to take shape, to take form in the world, because the world needs more people who are checking in. Because when you get leaders who are not going within, who are not checking in, let's just say they do dumb things. Drea said, I am, let's see. Okay, let me go. Drea, let me know if I'm saying your name right, because names are important to me. You know that about me. I'm sure you do. Drea said, I am aware of what's happening, but I don't get absorbed. Be in the world or not of the world. Yes, it's so easy. Which is actually, you just gave me something to talk about. Something Kiana said she journals it, she lives it, and try not to spiritually bypass. That's right. Yeah, there you go. That's the part that I was waiting for. I know you, and I know you don't. Well, I know you. Let me say that. I know how I can sense how you show up, and I think the reason I was teasing that out. It's kind of like a play, really. It's like saying yes, you go within, but there are too many people who might say, "I go within, and I just connect with the divine because I can't deal with what's going on in the world." Okay, and then what? Sometimes spiritual bypass. It's kind of like get pulled on. There's so many ways we can go to that. I asked Showing Card about time. She said, like you were saying, create a different. I love that. Ooh, I feel like create a different relationship with time, but also um, the old systems have been structured that don't serve the well-being of humanity. New system, we need them. We need them to redistribute. We need redistribution of power, money, land, and time. Observing, not absorbing. Yes, yes. Thank you, Drea, for letting me know that I pronounced your name right. Now, here's what I want to say. Hopefully, I can get it all in before Rev D shows up. Do you know that things are not as bad as you think they are? Things are not as bad as I think they are. Things are not as bad as we think they are. It really isn't. Because the world we see out there is a macrocosm of the microcosm called you, me, us. Think about your life. Most of us, we tend to focus on things that are not working. We focus on things that we're working on. We're focusing on things that didn't happen. We focus on a relationship that went south. We focus on not having enough money, the car breaking down. We are positive too. We're doing the spiritual work, but sometimes we find ourselves leaning more to the thing that we don't want, that we're seeking an answered prayer for, 2, 4, and 1, however you want to say it. And oftentimes that becomes the repetitive thought about, I wish it could be different. I wish my back doesn't hurt. I wish this. I wish that. So think about it. If you're amongst your friends, because you're not the only one thinking that thought. I'm not the only one thinking that thought. We're not the only one thinking that thought. A lot of us are thinking that thought. We're thinking thoughts like that. So what do you think happens when 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of us get together? The dominant thought is amplified. What do you think happens when we gather together as people who work for mainstream media, the news media, a radio show, a radio station, a TV station, movies, all of the things that call for different people to put together to birth? There's a tendency to focus on the things in our life that we believe it's true for everybody. So we project that out there. But the truth is, there is so much good going on. So if you take your life, for example, my life, our life, just think about it. The fact that you could just log on and hear this conversation. You may agree with some, you may disagree with some, but it will have you think differently. It may have you look at yourself differently. You might watch somebody put something in the chat, read it, and like, oh, I never thought of that. Think of the blessing of that. The blessing of life. The blessing of being alive, the blessing knowing that you're connected to deep ancestral wisdom, that you can call on it anytime. The blessing of your body doing what it needs to do, whether there might be some pain here, it's got some disease, your body is constantly doing what it needs to do to heal you. Family members, friends, people you know on social media that you've never met. Never met. You've known them for 10 years. Jackie, I've known Jackie way more than 10 years. We talk every day, mostly on WhatsApp. I love WhatsApp because if we talked every day, man, we would never get nothing done. And there are many others. There's this connection. So there are people that we're connected to. So think of a newspaper. You pick up a newspaper. You're not going to hear how great things are going. So when you find yourself focusing on the problems in the world, the problems in your world, bring it back. Like I have people that love me. I have one or two people I can turn to. I can eat. I have food to eat. Oh, sugar and spice. I just remember something. Okay. I need to do something. Let me do this. Something I need to send to Rev D that I haven't done. But yeah, so even that, remembering that there's something I need to do that I didn't do. Because it's just as simple as giving Rev D the link that she needs to get here, and I forgot. So when I'm thinking, where's Rev D? Something told me she doesn't have the link, which makes sense. Think about times when you go to bed. I'm going to try and talk and multitask. You go to bed. There's something you wanted to do, but you forgot. Nope, can't use that. Go somewhere else. And just as you're getting in bed, you remember that thing, and you're like, "Oh my God, I'm so glad I remembered." Woo, that was close. I mean, that's something to celebrate. That is something to celebrate. We have so much to celebrate, but most times, we just focus on the things that are not working. Don't mind me while I move my eyes and do all of this because I'm multitasking. You know what? Let's do this. Yeah, okay, I'll take a breath. Because I notice some thoughts are bubbling up. But I can allow the thoughts to bubble up and say it's okay. And the thoughts go, it's like, oh man, how could I forget that? I shouldn't have forgotten that. It's okay. All right, here we go. Let me send that to Rev D. It's okay to have silence. So while I do this, just share your thoughts in the chat rooms. When I come back, you can get me back on track. Life happens, and I can spend all day worrying about this, but I won't, because it is not necessary. Make sure. Okay. Oh Lord. Oh Lord, thank you, Jesus. I'm so glad that I remembered at that time. Now I just need to send. What do you mean, don't get me, Kiana? Yes. Okay. Okay, hold on one second. Let me just. Yes. And now let me just kind of read this text I just got. You know, this is so perfect. This is so perfect. Talk about speaking. What do I want to say? Hold on one second. Can you? So I have like CNN, breaking news. CNN, you know, they wear that thing out. Okay, so let me do this. Okay, let me do this. Shoyinka said, when we create more talk on how to redistribute power, money, land, and time, we will will better serve life as a supreme love for us, for all of us. Indeed. And we're going to have to do it. We're going to have to do it. So this is the breaking news. So I just got a text from Rev D. Do y'all see where this is going? This is a perfect opportunity for me to focus on the good. What's good? What's beautiful? She's having some issues joining because the place where she needs, the room that she needs to do the show, she got locked out. She can't find the key. She had the key, but she can't find it. It's funny that it was just when I was sending her the message that the text came in. So we're trying to see if she can join another way. Okay, 1 second. I need a producer, and I need a producer right now. I'm texting and talking. This is live, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, but I'm in the car. I can pull over and get it. Okay. Yeah, okay, cool. I need to, okay. And so she's going to join us by phone. Because this is too juicy. Even. Okay, so she's going to be joining us by phone because y'all got to hear this. And I mean, so let's talk about redistributing time, power, money, land. What does that look like? You know, if we were the one that we're being consulted with, now we've been charged with how to redistribute. I don't know why that word is tripping me up. Redistribute money, power, land, and time. What would you do? This is very good. This is very good. Because like, woo, it's perfect opportunity, man. Sometimes you teach it. Well, in my case, I'm always teaching what I need to learn. Like, anyway. But the beauty of it is, no matter what, she was able to text me. I'm able to communicate with her. You all are patient. There's always something good happening. There's more good happening in the world than what we think is bad or negative. Because if there was more bad things going on, more evil things for those who want to use that, this world won't be the way it is. Life is balance. I'm telling you. So back to my question. If you were charged with the responsibility to redistribute power, well, take one of them, power, money, land, and time, or time, one of them. What would you do? Here's the mistake we make sometimes. We forget that we are the leaders. Now, for me, every now and then I get nervous because I believe in the idea, the truth, the spiritual truth that says, be the truth you want to see. And when I think about politics, I'm like, oh, hell no, right? And I also know that in order to change something, you have to be a part of it. But part of my hell no is not because I don't think I can, well, let me say that differently. It's, first of all, when I think about how it's set up, I need my freedom to say exactly what I believe, what I think, what I know, what I see. I don't need to water down anything. I mean, yes, there's a way of communicating. We say we don't need to water down or be authentic, but where you are will determine the way you communicate. It doesn't mean you're not being authentic because you're trying to be effective. So anyway, what I know for sure is I'm doing exactly what I need to be doing. This is my way of being political. I have some strong opinions. I certainly do. Some people don't agree with it, and it's okay. It's not just mine. But what we do have is each and every one of us have the capacity, the ability, the responsibility to tap into the divine and download what needs to be expressed. When we leave it in the hands of other people and say, some people know politics is the thing. They know that. But politics is their thing. But they're like, oh, I don't know. There are mothers whose children got killed and end up like, I'm going into politics because we have to be a part of it to change it. Rev D, I don't know if you can hear me. Rev D's here. But before I bring her on, I just want to make sure I don't see your camera. Maybe you're trying to give it permission. But yeah, there we are. So, okay, hold on one second. I'm gonna bring you on. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know you're ready. Yes, great. All right, we're just life is in session. We have D's here, and just as I was bringing her around, okay, we'll do it without a camera, and then maybe you're just gonna hear Rev D's voice because we're making life work for us. All right, let me bring Rev D on. Hey, Rev D.
Hey there.
Your camera is out. I'm not sure if you're aware.
No,
And,
I'm aware because I'm driving.
Oh, okay. And it's a good thing that you're aware. So, are you ready to jump into the conversation? Just have a conversation while we're on a road trip with you, or you want me to come back? Because when I saw your text, I was like, take a deep breath. Anyway, how are you doing?
I apologize for that.
No worries.
Yeah, we're in these big transition right now, and I wanted to try to still honor, this time slot that we have with you here. In a couple of hours, the last truckload is going out from the Inner Light Center, and I literally pulled an all-nighter. I was there literally all night and went home to change clothes just to be able to do this show.
Yeah.
And I know exactly where the keys are. That because I remember looking at them saying, don't forget those keys on that ironing board. And when I got to the place and I didn't have the key, it was like, yep, well,
that's it.
So sorry about that.
No, Rev D, you don't even have to say that because I know. I mean, I texted you this morning thinking I'll get a text later, like 3:30 your time a.m. I was like, oh, Rev D's up, so I know that's true. And you are moving out of the. I was shocked. I was going to text you back, and I'm thinking, okay, she probably doing her something. I said, don't get into no long conversation. You talk to her later. So, and you're moving out of Inner Light. So the fact that you're here, I'm so grateful. Just grateful. Now, what I would say is we don't have to do the full thing. So maybe if you got like 20, 30 minutes, that would be good. And I'll carry it till the end. But I just feel like, you got juicy stuff that we need, especially when we have some grown children in politics doing stuff I don't think they need to be doing, that they have no idea. It's like, I was like, yes, I'm so glad we're talking about this topic. I mean, just God being God. Anyway, Rev D. So the topic today is the governmental Trinity. And like I said, if you want to just do 20, 30 minutes, that's fine too. Just let me know. It's all good. Okay? So,
well,
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think that particular phrase that you were pulling from one of the letters in my series, the second volume of the Letters from the Infinite series called Your Deepest Intent. And there's a letter in there called the Governmental Trinity. And it's actually a very good letter. If any of you have that book, I highly recommend that you read it. And the letter is, in the gist of it, is trying to get us to pay attention to the ways in which we need to open up our hearts as well as our minds.
Yes.
There's this way in our Western thinking, we tend to try to separate those and make some things a matter of the mind because it gives us the feeling that we can command that and control that in some kind of way. However, if whatever it is that's going on in your mind is not also being accompanied with what's going on in your heart, then you won't ever have any real growth or healing or transformation. That those two really have to go hand in hand. This particular letter was making some commentary to us as a nation. When I say us, I'm talking about the United States, and explaining how the way that our government is designed with its three branches really mirrors the way that spirit manifests in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's referred to as a triune nature of spirit. If we were to look at it as a human being, for example, that each human being exists on three different planes. On one plane, there's a way in which each and every person is absolutely like every other person. This is what I would call sort of the universal. Then there's ways in which each and every person is like some other people. This is where we might call like cultural kinds of things or affinities or affiliations. And then there's ways in which each and every person is like no other person. This is our individuality. This is the way that we're unique. But this isn't just for people. This is the way that everything manifests. You can have a tree, for example, and there's a way in which that tree is going to be like absolutely all other trees, a way that that tree is going to be like some trees, and a way in which that tree is going to be like no other tree. Yes. What I find is that part of spiritual maturation is learning how to hold those three simultaneously with equal value. Mm-hmm. I want to say that again. It's part of spiritual maturity is learning how to hold all three of those with equal value. Getting to the point where we can deal with our universal oneness and that not eclipse the fact that we do have all of these varieties and diversity and differences, these similarities with some that aren't necessarily the similarities with others, and that we have our own unique individual personalities. Yes. What I often find, particularly in this more metaphysical kind of spiritual proclivity that I play in, is that folks want to hang out in 1 and 3. They right. want to hang out in everybody's like everybody else, or everybody's just an individual, and they get real nervous, wanting to talk about. There's ways in which we're some people, in ways that we're not like some people. And they don't want to talk about, as much as they talk about diversity, they don't want to talk about differences. Go figure. Right. As though differences is going to cause some kind of divisiveness. Yes. And on the other hand, I find that a lot of times the people who are hanging out in the real social justice activist types, a lot of times they're living in that second realm where they're really seeing the ways in which they are like some people and not like other people, and they're missing the universal oneness. They're not really seeing the ways in which we really are all alike. Or they're missing that individual level because they're feeling like they don't have the luxury, that society doesn't give them the luxury to be an individual, because they've been so branded with a particular cultural identity. Yes. And that ability, the reason why I call it a maturation is that it takes effort. It takes energy. It takes a transcendent view to be able to hold all of those. I find that whenever I get stuck in the muck, particularly in political things, it's my failure to hold those three. When I get stuck in the muck, I've lost sight of one piece of those. I'm either so much into, a judgmental thing about, our differences and who we are and all of the rest of that, or I am somehow or another not seeing all that and doing the spiritual bypass. But to really heal, you have to do all three. And I want everybody to really hear that, because whether it's a relationship with yourself, whether it's a relationship that you're having with your child or your spouse, that capacity to do all three is really important. So the observation that was being made in this spirit letter, which I actually found very interesting, is it was showing how our three branches of government actually mirror this kind of threefold way of expressing that what we call our three branches of government. There is the executive branch, there is the legislative branch, and then there's the judicial branch. That executive branch is akin to the universal. Okay, so everybody just take a breath here, because you're going, what? What are you talking about? By that I mean, we may choose that through partisan means. However, once the person is in the position, not just the president, but that whole administrative function, it is for the whole. It's the federal. It's the government. There's only one military. There's only one post office. There's only one. It isn't like we've got all these different ones. And theoretically, at that level, everybody is supposed to be equal, that the concerns are to be for every citizen, regardless. Regardless. Now, the legislative branch is more at that level too, where you're like some and you're not so much like the others. And that's where we play that out. You have representatives, and your representatives are there to represent, your particular interest in whatever that is that's going on. And that judicial branch is designed to be more at that individualistic level, where the judicial branch is taking all of these laws and things that are supposed to be applying to everyone at level 1, or even to some people at level 2, but then testing it against, is it really working that way in this situation? With this person, in this case? And how do we apply all of these things that are going on right here and right now? And I thought that was an interesting observation, that in theory, those three carry that with it, that gives it a balance, And my main point that I would make here to anyone who's listening is strive for that balance in all of your endeavors. Strive for that balance between your capacity to be able to see the wholeness of everybody and all of it. Being able to see the particularities and those nuances, the little flavor flav that's going on here, and to appreciate that individual. Mm-hmm. Our purpose statement in Inner Light Ministries tries to capture this. And those nuances. The very last line of our purpose statement says, we embody spiritual oneness, appreciate individualized expressions, and honor all paths that lead to truth. We embody the spiritual oneness. That's the universal. We appreciate the individualized expressions. That's that level 3, the unique. And we honor all paths that lead to truth. That's where there's that level of the differentiations amongst the things, the diversity and the variety. And I would ask for each and every person to really consider that in your own life. Do you hold the 3 in your own life? Can you see how you are part of the only thing that is? Mm-hmm. Do you get that? Do you understand that? Do you understand that you're not outside, that just because you have these unique particular things that are going on with you and your particular circumstance doesn't mean that you're less than or not part of the whole. Mm-hmm. So whatever that is that life is providing for the all of itself, it's providing for you too. It's providing for you too. Sometimes we get so stuck in what's going on in our individual lives that we forget we're part of the great I am. We're not the effect. We're one with the causation that put it all into motion in the first place. That's who we are. That's who we are. And then at other times, we're not paying enough attention to that little extra nuance. You know? Yeah, yes. We're all the same, but what is your heart need? Like I tell people here at Inner Light, we don't give you a bunch of do's and don'ts. We give you spiritual principles and let you and God figure out how that applies to you.
Yes.
Okay? Because it would be like going to the doctor and the doctor giving everybody the same prescription. That don't make no sense.
No.
Some people need to gain weight, some people need to lose weight. You know? It's like some people need to speak up and some people, need to tone it down a little bit.
Shut up. I'll say it. They need to shut up.
Exactly. Yeah. Some people need to really step out and get some fire under their behinds. And other people need to just chill out.
It's like, sit down.
Exactly. Sit
Please.
yourself down. Somebody else is, will you get up?
Right. You sit down and you get your you know what up. Because we're waiting to hear what you have to say and what you have to do. Yes.
Exactly. It's not a one size fits all. It really isn't. But I think if we can grow to this kind of appreciation in our own lives and then extend this kind of appreciation to us as a politic, it would make a difference. I know for my own self, for example, that it makes me stretch. It's like, yeah, I want to see the way that, we're all citizens, we're all like, we all need to have these rights and all the rest of that. And I can see the individual, and it makes me have to stretch my heart space to embrace the ones that don't reflect my values.
Yes.
That aren't looking at things the way that I'm looking at it. And it would be too easy to want to either be dismissive or to be all self-righteous. And it's like,
right.
Because
Babe D, what you're saying there is as you're saying it, I'm like feeling it, because I know the times I've been in those places where I have to stretch. But sometimes what we forget is we know we have to stretch. And I'm talking for anybody who knows that. We know we have to stretch, and sometimes I just don't have it. I just can't. I'm not made for that. But yet we want other people to do the stretching. Whether they're lovers, whether they're children, whether they're political leaders, was often sometimes looking for them to do the stretching that we're not willing to do. Exactly. And then we end up having the issues we're dealing with because nobody wants to stretch, or we were demanding somebody else to do it. Exactly. And we can't do it because we don't want to do it. It's like, oh, it's just too much. I ain't got it. I ain't the one. I ain't the one.
No, it's not that we don't have it. It's that we choose not to.
Yes.
We choose not to.
Yes.
And, I'm just calling it out. But what I know, and what I know through the years, trying to get myself.
Oh.
I made it back to I'm in the middle of boxes here at the center. But at least but at least I have my phone.
Yes, thank God.
So
you're upside down. Oh, okay, you're giving them a perspective of yourself. Like, let's look at this upside down. Okay, there you go.
Let's look at it this way. Let's look at it this way or that way.
Yes.
What I know is this, is that the idea that somebody doesn't belong, that somebody should be left out, it's the construct itself that's the problem.
Yes.
See? Because as long as there's room in my heart for that, then it keeps that construct going. Then the who gets left out just keeps changing.
Yes.
It's kind of like the family that has that idea, the quote unquote black sheep. I've always hated that term. But if that's in your family construct, then every generation there'll be one.
Yes.
There'll be one, because it's a script that is being that's like a placeholder waiting for somebody to fall in it. So what I know growing up is how evil people have thought that I was just for being gay, for being a gay pastor, a gay female pastor.
Right? You just like X 3, 4, 5 strikes, you out. He's like, well, yeah, I am out actually.
Yeah, and wanting to dismiss me. So it's one of those things where if I don't want to be dismissed, then I can't participate in the dismissed thing.
Woo! Can you say that again? I think it's so simple that can be missed, but there's so much power in that.
Yes. If I don't want to be dismissed, I cannot participate in the dismissing.
Even if you have been dismissed.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. And it's one of these things. Okay, so I'm from LA, and LA's always going up in flames. People see the rage, but they don't see the pain.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. There are riots that are going on right now. Political riots. We're in another civil war.
Yes.
And it's easy to just demonize people and look at their actions and what they're doing. But what's the pain? What really is the pain? And until we're willing to look at it, I'm not saying you got to agree with it. But as a Black person, I know that fear of feeling like I'm going to be irrelevant, that fear that somehow I'm not going to matter, I'm going to be passed over, or other people are going to be favored over me. I know what that feels like. So I don't miss it when other people are feeling that.
Yeah.
We do prison outreach, and there's a Muslim chaplain that we were under and worked with for a number of years, the Imam Michael Salam. And I never will forget this one talk that he did. We would go to a lot of the gatherings, interfaith or Eid celebrations or whatever, that might have been particularly Muslim. And he said, every baby speaks the same language. He said, this means I'm hungry. The other one, I'm wet.
Right.
Pick me up. I'm sleepy. He says, and you figure it out.
Yes.
You figure out which cry means what, so you can respond accordingly. And then he just stopped and said, when did you stop hearing my cry? We all speak one language.
We all speak one language.
When did we stop listening to each other's cries?
Yes. And some of the things we're seeing is a reflection of us stop hearing each other's cry. I'm thinking of the stretching. I mean, oneness, you can't, I don't know, but I feel like if to live oneness, you got to take love with you. You got to take compassion with you, because that's the oil.
No.
So
you don't know. You have to be it.
You have to be the oneness, right?
You have to be the love.
Okay, got it.
Because that idea that we can pick it up, take it, drop it, carry it around when we want to, or that somehow it can be excluded here or there. No. It has to be your premise, your foundation stone. It has to be your dwelling place. And this love is not an emotion. This is the agapeo love. This is the oneness love. This is the connection love. This is that soul force love. This is will, it's volition, it's a choice. It's an identity, not an activity. It's an identity first and foremost. Activity may flow from it, but it's a way of seeing yourself and seeing yourself in connection with everybody and everything. So too many of us are at cross purposes.
Yes.
We say we want oneness and peace, but what I really want is for you to fall off the face of the earth.
And if they do, then we'll have oneness because they're not here anymore.
Exactly.
Oh, we lost you.
Politically diverse.
You're back. So, could you repeat that again? Because your sound went out.
Yes, somebody's call was coming through. We get into this kind of idea, like, when are they going to fall off the face of the earth so we can finally be diverse?
Oh, wow.
You know, it's like, and I know sometimes it feels like we can't even get to the oneness with all their we oneness. But
yes.
But you can't look for exclusions. See, I don't let my people say but. It don't come at me with a but. You come at me with an and you know, well, Reverend Deborah, this and how does this work? How do we not but? But what about this one? But what about that? Because we keep trying, as long as anybody's trying to find an exclusion, you will be the one excluded one day. No one is outside of the pale. No one.
How is that the best way to phrase this question? But I'm going to stay with it. How do we live that in this whole conversation, in a conversation around Roe v. Wade, where they're trying to overturn abortion rights?
Be it. Don't get on the triangle. The roof is on fire. This is where we got to pump it up, not dummy down. The nation is against most of this stuff that's going on. The people don't want voter suppression.
So true.
The people don't want Roe v. Wade to go down. So we have this beautiful corrective mechanism. And it ain't that deep. Vote.
Yes.
It's just that simple. And particularly this year.
Yes.
Vote. Declare. Your vote is like a prayer. You are registering and declaring your word and what you want. Just like prayer, the more that stand in agreement,
yes,
then something happens. See, now's the time to mobilize. When people who are in power, they cannot be entrusted with that power because they're supposed to be doing the will of the people.
Right. Right.
But they're trying to create voter laws to suppress the will of the people. But we put them in that power. We put them in.
Take them out.
We gotta take them out.
So there's truth to this statement. I am your mother. I brought you to this. I brought you to this planet. I'll take you out. So there's some truth to it.
And this is nothing new. You know, we just confirmed the first African American woman to the Supreme Court. Okay, but this is the same Supreme Court that in a 7-2 decision right before the Civil War said that nobody of African descent was ever intended to be a citizen in the United States or to have the same rights. Dred Scott decision. They're just people, I guess is what I'm saying. They're just people. They change, they make the law, they change it, but we can't let ourselves go up and down with the yo-yo of the politics. We have to be like that tree planted by the river that will not be moved. Truth crushed to earth will rise and rise again. Now's not the time to go whining and crying about what somebody else is doing. Now's the time to pump up the volume.
That's right, to turn it up, pump it up. Yes.
Pump up the volume. And not just against something. Now is the time to speak up for the vision. See, it's a pure hypocrisy to say you want all these babies born and you don't do anything to support them. That you close all the clinics that offer birth control and prenatal care. No. See, we have to have a vision here about equity and fairness And not just a woman's right to choose, but a healthy respect for privacy. Because I tell you now, all these laws stack, and if Roe v. Wade goes down, they're coming after gay marriage.
Florida already started.
I'm telling you that now. Because they all stack. Yes. And they will fall like dominoes. We cannot make this a woman's issue. This is not a woman's issue. Do you know what would happen to this nation? Just our whole economy? And people are talking about it hurts the poor women and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
No. If women do not have control over their bodies, it impacts everything.
Everything and everyone.
Everything and everyone.
Yes.
And, there's some fellas that need to be sweating some bullets too.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Yes.
That's a lot of child support.
Yes.
What kind of nation do we want?
Right.
See, I want a nation where we're free. Where the government's not up in my coochie.
I know that's right. Some people choked on their coffee right now.
But I've lived this as a gay person.
Yes.
I've already lived this. This is just a little twist on a theme. No. I have a vision of freedom. I have a vision of choice. I have a vision of health care and access for everyone.
For everyone.
For everyone. That we treat people with dignity. That we respect families. Most of the women seeking abortions already have kids. If we start addressing the reasons why there's a demand for abortion, we're always trying to end things on the supply side. Cut off the drugs, war on this, war on that, war on abortion. But as long as there's a demand, it'll always happen.
That's right.
Why is there a demand? And what kind of commentary is that on us as a nation? See, I have a vision of us offering good education.
Yes.
And I'm talking about starting in preschool. Where it doesn't take half your paycheck.
Right.
To be able to go to work, to have somebody to watch your kids. We got to step it up and join the rest of the world that's modernized.
Yes.
And see, that's a different conversation than just, this party's doing this thing and this party's doing that thing. Well, yeah, they are. But where's the vision? Where's the vision?
And people perish for lack of vision.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got a few things we can tweet from today's show. Rev D, thank you.
It's been good.
Yes, indeed. I know you have a lot going on, and that's what I'm saying. You don't even have to apologize. Thank you for making it work. I know Inner Light is doing some fundraising right now because you're distributing things. Can you talk a little bit about that so listeners could know to support Inner Light?
Once again, the supply thing. There's enough stuff. It's a distribution problem. Mm-hmm. So our center is going to be demolished. There's going to be a 3-story senior assistant living complex put on our property here. What had been our property, 3.5 acres, we've sold it. And we are taking all the excess stuff. We've either sold it, given it away, and now we have a crate outside, a cargo crate, where all of the pews, all of the chairs up in the balcony, the stoves, 2 stoves, 3-door refrigerator, 15 desks, something like 20 printers, computers, I mean, like you name it. Toilets, sinks. It's being shipped to West Africa, to Burkina Faso, to some community centers and villages there. And we're getting down to the very end. We need to pay for the shipping on Saturday. So if anybody wants to, feels moved to make a contribution, you can go to innerlightministries.com and donate. We're going to be blessing this stuff on Thursday or Friday. It really is a sight to behold, to see all what has happened here.
Yes.
It really is. And I'm glad the stuff's not going to the landfill. All the excess AV equipment, speakers and soundboards and things that we would throw away in the United States.
Right.
You know, we must be sending 15 laptops easy.
Wow.
But they fix them. They repair them. You know, make stuff usable.
That's it. That is it. Thank you, Rev D.
Thank you.
Thank you. I love and appreciate you.
Back at you, my brother. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Life is good. It's getting better. I am so grateful. It's funny. Spirit is funny. Life is funny. The universe is funny. God is funny. The Christ is funny. All of life. You know, to hear some of the things Rev D was talking about. Well, when I was talking about, you know, there's so much good going on in the world, and Rev D came and just kind of wrapped it up. It's like, yes, there's more good going on in the world than what we think is happening out there. And one of the things I got from, you know, when I saw the news about Roe v. Wade, and it's like there's so many things, even here in UK, there's just all kind of stuff. Wherever you are in the world, where the government is doing all kind of BS. And sometimes I do step into anger, which is fine. One of the things I'm leaving with, what's been activated, amplified in me, is when we see things like this that really break our hearts, things that's like, how could they do that? We can be there for a minute, but it's an invitation, to quote Rev D, to pump it up, to rise up, to speak up, to act up, to show up. That's the answer. That's the answer. I love Rev D saying, love that she said, you know, to voting is like a prayer. Woo! I felt that one. That's your way of putting your prayer, because prayer is action. Prayer is an activity, it's a shift in consciousness. And we definitely, truly need one another. Now, we were talking about this earlier, your deepest intent. You're very welcome, my dear sister, Queen of Zamunda. page 331. If you don't have it, go get the book. If you have it, 331, the Governmental Trinity. And it starts to break this down, section 8. There's so much here. And I trust the process because I had plans of how I thought the show was going to go. But yet, we made it work. Don't give up. This ain't the time. Don't give up. Don't give in. And if we all activate the truth, we activate the power within us, if we all step up and stop making excuses, well, I really do that, but it's just that if we just let the excuses go, excuses be gone, and you show up fully and not playing it safe. First of all, you won't even see some of the news that's happening. You would be downloading the solution, putting it into action, watching the manifestation, and later on you hear that something happened. There was a law, a bill, or something that was passed, but now it was gone for whatever reason. You're like, really, that happened? I didn't even know. It would go as fast. So I was watching Trevor Noah. They're doing this White House dinner thing. And he said something about CNN Plus. I didn't know anything about CNN Plus. Because there was a time I was following the news in America. I still do, but not like I used to. Every now and then some things will come through. And he mentioned CNN Plus, and I Googled it. CNN Plus was launched March 2022, this year. I think it was around, I don't know, maybe a month or two. And it's gone. Now, why am I using that as an example? They put millions of dollars into it. It no longer exists. Some of the things that are happening in the world, in politics, in your life, something can rise up and it could be gone just like that. You could have spent all your life worrying about it, investing thoughts and energy, but it can go just like that because everything is temporary. Don't get caught up. This is a great opportunity to show up, to show out. And if you discover that what's yours to do is to be more kind with your neighbors, be more kind with people that you work with, be more compassionate with when you call customer service agents. I'm working on that. I mean, generally, actually, I'm very good when I called extra fear. I like that. I like that. CNN Plus extra fear. It's gone. It disappeared. They put billions. No, not billions. What I heard is millions of dollars into it. Now it's gone. Extra fear for real. Another breaking news. But when we call customer service agents and they are just not listening while telling you they are listening, let me speak for myself. I have to take a breath. I might need to end the call. Doesn't mean I hang up on them, but maybe. I've never had to do that. I'll just tell them, listen, you're not helping me. Those are some of the places where I get challenged. But we all have places where just like, oh, that's the rub. That's the rub. So all of this is an invitation. Wherever you are in the world, whatever it looks like, every country is different. And then every country, the whole thing about be like that. And I want to read this because some of you, I thought that, well, just a few lines really, that we'll get to read this section. But I know there was some question around the three aspects of Dr. Yeah, she is a doctor. Rev D shared where, I want to see. So what she was saying earlier was there are some places, there are some ways in which every person is like all people. That's one. Places where we're like some people and like no other person. Just want to amplify that. There are places where we're like all people, some people, and like nobody else. You are like nobody else. There's places where you show up and you're not like anybody else in the world, period. If we're like choir members, you just got to hold your own tune. Doesn't matter if you think somebody else got a better voice than you. We're trying to create. We're trying to co-create with this universe. We're trying to sing together. So you just get in place and sing your song. And then in the choir, they have the sopranos and the bass and the altos. So you're like some of the choir. And then, of course, as being part of the choir, you're like everybody. It's about oneness. It is about love. Speaking of love, something shifted in me when Rev D said, we have to step into a place where love is an identity, not an activity. And I think I've been thinking about it as that. So you show up as love because you are love, the healing force, the harmonizing force, the where you just, things are happening. We see it sometimes in superhero movies and stuff where there's explosions and bombing and the superhero just walks. There's a metaphor in that. That's us. That's us. I love you. I bless you. I appreciate you. And I thank God for you. As I shared earlier, I won't be here next week. There'll be no show next week. Possibly the week after. I'm not sure yet. If there is a show, you will know because you will get notified. Speaking of notify, I invite you to subscribe on YouTube, youtube.com, youtube.com, Life Coach Ade, Life Coach ADE. And the other thing is, if you want to move from mind-blowing aha moment and you really want to embody what you've heard and you need support, check out my website, lifecoachade.com, lifecoachade.com. Let's work together. Sign my mailing list. I'll plunk that up there right now. What else do I want to tell you? Tomorrow night, for those of you in America, 6 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, 2 a.m. in the morning for those of us in UK. I'm co-hosting Soul Fulfilling with Ricky Bias. Join us. You can find the podcast on YouTube as well, youtube.com/Ricky Bias. I'm so full. Thank you, my brother William. Thank you. So good to see you. Kwali, yes. Good to see you. What else? Oh, yeah, there's another podcast that I co-host every Monday now. That's a new thing that's been added to the schedule. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm hosting some kind of podcast. And Playing with Possibilities with my friends Cecile Armstrong and Christine Gautreaux. We do that on LinkedIn and on YouTube. I think on Facebook too. So how do you find it? Follow me on LinkedIn or connect with me on LinkedIn. Or sign my mailing list so then you get updates for that. What else I want to tell you? I want to tell you about libsyn.com, LIBSYON. If you're thinking of starting your podcast, if you're thinking, I'm finally ready to do it. I listened to Rev D and I know I've got something to share. LIBSYN.com. Check out their services. Look at their website. See if it works for you. They got great services, different levels. If you decide to sign up, make sure you use the promo code ADE. ADE. If you don't use a promo code, you pay immediately. If you use the promo code, you could get up to 2 months free. Maybe you know somebody else who has a podcast. Make sure you use a promo code ADE and go to bit.ly/your ancestors and the number 2, your ancestors 2. You'll find out more about representing your ancestors that I'm doing in association with Reimagine.org. Let's reimagine.org. Just go to that short link, bit.ly/your ancestors 2, the number 2, and join us May 26th at 7 p.m. Eastern. So it's a little bit later than the one I did on Thursday. There's so much more, and until I'm back here live, I know we see each other on social media, and at least I'll be posting my daily thoughts that I wrote for Hillside International Truth Center. I think this is perfect. I'm actually going to read the daily thoughts for today, and then that's where we leave it. And it speaks to what we talked about. That wasn't planned, but God always knows what God is doing. So today's daily thoughts, written by yours truly, I wrote for the month of May for Hillside International Truth Center, is I fast from the illusion of separation. Perfect. Who said I ain't connected? I know I am. All right, here we go. Do I need my glasses? No, I don't. When we do not challenge the illusion of separation, we can be led to believe that the illusion is the absolute truth. The belief that we are separate from God, each other, our good, and nature is the root of all dis-ease. Fasting from the illusion of separation on a daily basis transforms our relationships with one another, and the relationship with the divine. Oh boy. I fast from the illusion of separation. I recognize and know that everything is connected. There is no beginning and no ending. How I live my life has an effect on those I love and those I do not know. For this reason, I choose to be responsible for my thoughts and actions. I live by the healing wisdom of oneness, and I allow it to guide my daily spiritual practice. Thank you, God. Thank you, power in me, through me, as me, around me, through the Christ within, and so it is. And the scripture is, but as for me, when they were sick, I wore sackcloth. I humbled my soul with fasting, and my prayer returned into my own bosom. Psalms 35:3. I'm struggling to read that because I'm just amazed about the synchronicity of today's daily thoughts that was written like 3 months ago. God knows what God is doing. Everything we need is right here, right now. Thank you for being here. I love and appreciate you. And whatever you do, however you do it, remember to be you, to be who you are. Show up authentically, full of love, full of passion, full of joy. And when you can't, reach out to somebody. But know that that's your identity. Love is your true identity. And I'm out.
Be who you are. Let your